The following commands provided by Oracle to handle transactions called TCL commands. Okay, TCL commands. Transaction Control Language. TCL stands for Transaction Control Language. What are the TCL commands? One is commit, one is rollback. Okay, one is rollback, another one save point. So there are three commands. Okay, there are three commands called TCL commands. These three commands are called TCL commands. And these three commands are used to control what? Transactions. To handle the transactions, Oracle is given three commands: commit, rollback, save point. Okay, then commit, rollback, save point. Okay, then now see this: save point, rollback, commit, rollback, save point. So actually, if transaction is there, finally what you do? Either you save or you cancel. That's all. Only two. At the end, if transaction is there, at the end of the transaction, either you have to save the transaction or you have to cancel the transaction. When you save it, when all are successfully completed, then save it. When we cancel it, one is successful, one is failed, then cancel it. How to save it? By using commit. Commit is for to save transaction. Commit is for to save transaction. Rollback is for to cancel transaction. Save point is for to cancel part of the transaction. Commit is for to save, rollback is for to cancel, save point to cancel part of the transaction. Okay. So commit is for to save the transaction, rollback is for to cancel, save point to cancel part of the transaction. That's all. So this is the following commands provided by Oracle to handle transaction called TCL commands. Okay, then next one. Then so and one more thing. Every transaction has a begin point and an end point. Transaction has a begin point and what? End point. You go to ATM, you insert the card, select money withdrawal. That is begin. Insert the card, select money withdrawal. When you select money withdrawal, that is begin. Transaction begins. Okay. Next one. Enter PIN number, enter the amount, enter the PIN number. Next, you'll get the cash. That is end point. After getting the cash, that is what? End. So every transaction has a begin point, what? End point. That is in ATM. But when it comes to database, when it begins, in database, a transaction begins automatically with DML. A transaction begins automatically with what? DML. A transaction begins automatically with DML. Okay, na? Then. So a transaction begins automatically with what, sir? DML. Okay, then. Now, with DML. A transaction begins automatically with DML. Means whenever you submit what? Whenever you submit DML command, transaction what? Begins. When you submit the DML command, transaction begins automatically. Okay, then. And when it ends, a transaction ends what? A transaction ends whenever user submits what? Whenever user submits commit or rollback. When user submits commit or rollback, whenever user submits DDL command, when user submits DDL command, transaction ends with what? When user submits DDL, the transaction ends with what? Commit. Then, so when it begins, whenever you submit what? DML command. When it ends, the transaction ends whenever user submits what? Commit or rollback. Understood? Then, so when a transaction begins automatically with DML. A transaction ends when user submits either commit or rollback or DDL commands. Okay, then suppose let's take example one. 1 second. You see this. What is my command is create table what? Create table T1. T1 in T1 F1 number 2. I'm creating a table. So creating a table with one field. Creating a table with one field. Next one. Next after this insert into T1 values 10. Insert into T1 values 10. Next one. Insert into T1 values 20, 30, 40. I inserted four rows, 10, 20, 30, 40. I inserted 4 rows. After inserting 4 rows, then say what, sir? I say roll back. If I say roll back, then what happens? If I say roll back, what happens? What is cancel? What are saved? What are cancel? Okay, then see, first one, what is the first command? Create table. Create table is what? DDL command. When DDL command is executed, background commit is also executed. Your commit is executed. Understood or not? So whenever user submits DDL command, transaction ends with what, sir? Commit. You executed DDL command. When you execute the DDL command, commit is also executed. That means table creation is permanent or not? Yes. Table creation is saved. Commit means save. So table creation is saved. Next, you submit insert command. When you submit the insert command, transaction what, sir? Begins. Whenever you submit the DML, transaction begins. Here, so transaction begins. Here, transaction begins. Yes. Then, so transaction begins. Let's say a transaction name is T1. What the transaction name is? T1. So transaction begins. Then insert 20. Insert 20 also begins. Sorry, insert 20 also belongs to insert 20 also belongs to the same transaction. Insert 20 also belongs to the same. Insert 30 also belongs to the same. Insert 40 also belongs to the same. That means all these 4 operations belongs to one transaction or different one. So these 4 commands belongs to one transaction. Finally, the transaction ends with what? Finally, the transaction what, sir? Ends. You see that transaction ends whenever user submits commit or rollback. So your rollback is executed. When rollback is executed, transaction is what? Ended. When transaction ends with rollback, so these operations are saved or not saved? Not saved. Cancel. Because rollback will cancel the transaction. Commit will save the transaction. Here, so after executing rollback, whatever the transaction you have done, all these operations are cancelled. So that means inserts are cancelled, but create table is cancelled or not cancelled? Not cancelled. Because create table is what? Committed. Okay, then. Understood? Now. Yeah, see. So then, if you want to test, you can test. I want to test it. If you want to test, just remove this commit. this one. Okay. So remove this. Then let me run this commands. Let me run this. Then now you see the table. Just go and see the table. Select star from T1. Table name is T1. No rows. But table is there. Table is not cancelled. Create table is not cancelled. Only inserts are cancelled. Okay. Because only this inserts are comes under the transaction. Create table is not in the transaction. Understood? Only these inserts are in the transaction. Transaction is started here. Transaction is ended here. So these operations comes under transaction. So finally it is ended with rollback. Okay, then. So create table, what? Create table is what's that? Save and insert 10, 20, 30, 40 or what? Cancel. Okay, then next. Next one. Then suppose let's take another example. Then another example. Say this what? Create table. 1 second. 10, 20. Next one. Create table. Create table. Okay. T2. T2 C1 number 2. Then now tell me what happens. So create table T1. Insert T1 values 10, 20. Create table T2. Insert T1 values 30, 40. Roll back. Mm. T1, T2. T1. This is also T1 only. Okay. Then. So like I not inserted any data into T2. All this is inserted into T1 only. I not inserted any data into T2. All the data is inserted into T1 only. T1, T1, T1. Okay. Then see this. What happens is that's all. Here, whenever suppose you see, don't see the command, see the transaction, where it is started, where it is ended. Where it is started, where it is ended. Transaction. So this create table is what? DDL command. When DDL command means commit is executed. Next one, insert. When you submit insert is a DML. Insert is a DML. When it is a DML, transaction what begins? Let's say transaction begins. A new transaction is started. This insert also belongs to the same transaction. This insert also belongs to same transaction. Next one. So then next one. But here create table. What is the command you executed? Create table. When create table is executed, commit is executed. When commit is executed, this transaction is saved. One transaction is started here now. This transaction is what? Saved. That means 10, 20 is saved. Next one. Again, you submit insert. When you submit the insert, transaction begins. Here it is started, here it is ended. Next, again, you submit insert. Transaction what? Begins. The next party also belongs to this transaction. Next, you ended with what? Rollback. Then here transaction what? Transaction what? Ends. Your transaction what? Ends. Your transaction is ended with commit. Your transaction is ended with what? Rollback. Okay. Then, so that means 10, 20 is saved, 30, 40 is cancelled. That's understood. But how 10, 20 is saved? Yes, you created the table T2. Whenever you execute DDL commands, background commit is executed. Whenever you execute DDL command, background commit is executed. When commit is executed, so these operations are saved. Whatever the transaction is currently running, the transaction is ended with commit. Okay, that. So like what is this is create table T1, what saved. Next one, insert 10, 20, what saved. Create table T2, what saved. Insert 30, 40, what cancel. Insert 30, 40 is cancel. That's all. So create table T1 is saved, 10, 20 is saved, 30, 40 is saved. And that's all. So whenever you see the set of commands, don't see the commands. See where transaction is started, where it is ended. So here it is started, here it is ended. So ended with commit. Ended with commit means operations are saved. Ended with rollback means operations are cancelled. That's all. So here it is started, here it is ended. Now next insert. Here it is started, here it is ended. That's all. This is ended with what? Commit. This is ended with what? Rollback. That's all. Understood that. So you want to test, you can test. Let me test. Suppose you want to test. But before that, drop the table T1. T1 is already there. Then drop the table. So create the tables. So tables are created. Okay. Now see the table. Select star from what? T1. Select star from T1. 10, 20. Now see the table. Select star from T2. No rows. That's it. So T1 also 10, 20. But you inserted 10, 20, 30, 40. But only 10, 20 is saved. 30, 40 is cancelled. That's it. Okay. Then. So this is about commit rollback. Commit rollback and plus when transaction begins, when it ends. If ends with commit, then what? Ends with rollback, then what? Okay. Then. So what is the point here? Then if transaction what? If transaction ends with commit, then it is called what? Then it is called successful transaction. It is called successful transaction and operations are what? Operations are saved. If transaction ends with what? Rollback, then it is called aborted transaction. What is the name? Aborted transaction. Aborted transaction and operations are what? Operations are cancelled. That's all. If ends with commit, then it is called successful. If ends with rollback, then it is called aborted and operations are cancelled. Got it? That. Okay. Next. But here there is one, what is that is save points. There is a call save points. Okay. So here commit rollback, one more is there. That is what save point. What is save point is? What is save point is? We can declare save point and we can cancel. We can cancel the transaction up to the save point. We can cancel transaction up to the save point. Okay. We can declare the save point and we can cancel transaction up to the save point. Then using save point, we can cancel what part of the transaction. Using save point, we can cancel part of the transaction. Okay. We can declare the save point. We can cancel up to the save point. We can cancel up to the save point. Okay. Then, and using the save point, we can cancel part of the transaction. Okay. Means, see, suppose for example, like example one, suppose you see this here. So this is the create table, then create table. Okay. Next one, suppose insert 30, 40. Next, so insert what? Insert 30, 40. Next one, insert what? Insert 50, 60. Insert 50, 60. What the next one is? I'll say roll back. Then tell me what happens. Insert 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'll say roll back. What happens? All these operations are what? Cancelled. Create table is saved, but inserts are cancelled. But I don't want to cancel all the inserts. I want to cancel only the latest. Don't cancel all the changes. Cancel only the latest changes. Okay. Latest changes. Then what you have to do is, see here, after this, what Oracle says, declare the save point SP1. Okay. After inserting 1020, better to declare what? Save point SP1. Here also declare the save point SP2. After completing certain operations, declare the save point SP1. Here also save point SP2. What is the advantage of declaring the save point? When you want to roll back, you can say roll back to SP1. Roll back to SP2. Now you can say roll back to SP2. If you say roll back to SP2, rollback starts from here. It cancels all the operations up to SP2. Okay, then rollback starts from here. It cancels all the operations up to SP2. That means what is cancelled? Only 50, 60 is cancelled, but 10, 20, 30, 40 are not cancelled. They are not cancelled means does not mean that they are saved. Temporarily saved. Permanently, if you want to save them, execute commit. And you want to cancel them, execute rollback. Okay. So at present, 10, 20, 30, 40 are temporarily saved. If I say roll back to SP1, then so rollback starts from here. It cancels all operations up to SP1. What is cancelled? 60, 50, 40, 30 is cancelled. But what about 10, 20? 10, 20 is not cancelled. 10, 20 are temporarily saved. That's all. Understood now? Then. So this is what save point is. So what we can declare the save point, we can cancel transaction up to the save point. So we are canceling up to SP1. Then using save point, what we are doing, we are canceling what part of the transaction. We are not canceling the whole transaction. We are canceling only this part. We are able to cancel part of the transaction with the help of save point. Okay, that's all. So this is the purpose. If save point is not there, then if save point is not there, Oracle is not given a save point, but you want to cancel only these changes, only recent changes you want to cancel. No, you cannot. You have to cancel the complete transaction. But with the help of save point, you are able to cancel only the latest changes. Okay, na? Then that's all. So this is save point. That's all. Okay, then. Okay. So what the next topic is? Next topic is database security. Then database security. Next topic. So database security. Without writing, you can. I don't understand. Like if you want to save the value, just execute commit. That's all. Commit command is there now. Then okay, na? Understood. Okay. So here I'm creating, but if you want to save, then no need to create. You want to save these changes. To save the changes, execute commit. This is all scenario. If I execute this, what happens? That is what I'm asking. Okay. Then now. Hmm? Until next Tuesday. Yes. Okay. Then, okay, na? Then. In Oracle, how you provide security? You provide security by using users, privileges. Next one, views. Oracle, how to provide the security? You provide the security by using users, privileges, views. Okay, then see, next class is Tuesday. Next class is Tuesday. So here voting is there. So due to this elections, so the next class is Tuesday. Monday is not there. Monday is voting here. Okay. Then. Okay. Next. Users, privileges, and what's it? Views. 3. Okay now? Then. So actually, once again, suppose then. Then suppose see, for example, then for example, see what is this is what Oracle server. Okay, na? What is this is? This is what server. This is the server. Oracle server. Okay. Inside the server, what is created is database. Inside the server, what you created is what? You created the database. Database is created. Okay. So for a new project is started. For the new project, they install Oracle. After installing Oracle, that system is called server. Inside the server, they created the database for the new project. Suppose there are two developers. There are two developers working with this project. Okay, na? There are two developers working with this project. So who are that? Developer 1, developer 1, developer 2. So two developers assigned to this project. Two developers every day, these developers have to connect to Oracle. They have to work with the database. They have to connect to the server, work with the database. Okay. But to connect to the server, okay, now what is required is how to connect to the Oracle. To connect to the Oracle, what it will ask? It will ask what? Username and password. Okay. So to connect to the Oracle, what is required is username and password is required. Yes. Then now, so then with C, then what they do? One user ID password is created for developer 1. One user ID password is created for developer 2. With the help of user ID password, they can connect to the Oracle, work with the database. So then That means users provide security at what level? Users provides security at what level? Security at users provide security at what level? They provide security at what? Database level. They provide security at what level? Database level. Who are allowed to connect to the database? Who are not allowed to connect to the database? If you have the user ID password, you can connect to the database. If you don't have the user ID password, you cannot connect to the database. Okay, then. So users provide security at what level? Database level. Next one. Okay. So by using that user ID and password, you connect it to the database. But in database, okay, then some tables are there. What the database contains? Tables. So this is the database, sales database. In sales database, so some tables are there. Okay, then. So all the tables are there in one user. What that user is? System. System is admin. System is one admin. So all the tables are there in system. So what is that is? Some customer table, products table, next one, sales table, orders table. Okay. So all these tables are there in system. Now developer one, developer two. There are two developers created just now. So we created a two developers, developer one, developer two. Okay. But the tables are under one system. Who is the owner of these tables? System is the owner of these tables. But developers want to work with this database. If they want to work with this database, they need these tables. They need the tables. Is developer one, developer two can access these tables? No. Tables created by one user cannot be accessed by another user. So system is the owner of these tables. Developer one, developer two cannot access these tables. If developer one, developer two wants to access these tables, then what system has to give permissions? They are called privileges. That permissions are called privileges. So what is privileges? Privileges provides security at what level? Table level. Okay, na? Privileges provide security at what level? Table level. Okay, then understood. Table level. So here, then system will give the permissions on these tables to developer one. System will give the permissions on this table to developer two. Now developer one and developer two can work with these tables. Okay, next. So users provide security at what level? Database level. Privileges provide security at what level? Table level. Next one. Developer one is allowed to access what? Customer table. Is allowed to access customer table. But what is the table contains? Rows and columns. But developer one is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only part of the table. Developer one is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only part of the table. Is not allowed to access all the columns and all the rows. Is allowed to access only specific rows and specific columns. How this can be done? This can be done with the help of what? Views. So views provide security at what level? Row and column level. So is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only part of the table. How this can be done? With the help of views. And view provides security at what level? Security at what level? Row and column level. Okay, then. So users provide security at what? Database level. If you have the user ID password, you can connect to the database. If you don't have the user ID password, you cannot connect to the database. Privileges provide security at what level? Table level. So after you connect to the database, you cannot access the tables created by system. If you want to access the tables of system, then you need what? Permissions. They're called what? Privileges. Okay. So system will grant permissions on tables to developer. So now we can access the tables, but is not allowed to access complete customer table. Is allowed to access only one? Specific rows and columns. Suppose sales table. Sales table contains all the sales data, but is not allowed to access complete sales table. Is allowed to access only current year 2024 sales data. Is not allowed to access previous sales data. How this can be done? With the help of what? Views. So provide security at row and column level. Okay, then. Okay, then. But how to create users, how to grant permissions, how to create views, we'll see that in the next class. Because this is important, creating users, granting the privileges. Okay, then. So because no one is there, then we'll see if nobody comes on Tuesday, but we'll continue. Okay, then. So we'll continue this on Tuesday. So next class is Tuesday. Okay. Okay then. Okay. 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 Bye. See you.